Hi, Julia. How are you?
Hello, I am doing so great. How are you, Jocelyn?
I'm amazing. I'm so happy to have you here today.
Me too.
It's really interesting because I feel like our little ways that we connected have just been very kismet. I think that originally you heard me on Steph Caldwell's podcast,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Because it wasn't Manifest This. I think she switched her business name.
Manifest her.
Oh, Manifest Her. Exactly.
Yeah. Manifester.
Man,
Manifester.
got it.
Yeah.
And then you invited me onto your podcast,
Yes. Because
which
I was
was
like, this woman is incredible. There's something that, like, through that podcast, I was like, I remember exactly what I was. It was like 8 p.m. or something, and the kids had just gone to bed. And I was listening to the podcast and you while I was like doing dishes. And I kept stopping and being like, I love this person. Like, I don't know it, but the energy was literally palpable. It was just like coming through the speakers of my phone. I'm like, I need to talk to her and bring her onto my podcast.
and I loved being on your podcast. And there's some people who are just so good at like asking all the juicy questions and making everyone comfortable. I don't know. I just loved that conversation so much that I put it on my show
Yeah.
well. And then I was led to actually listen to, so I obviously wanted to get to know you better before being on your show. And I listened to an episode that you did with your husband around manifesting your dream life together. And obviously there's pieces around how you manifested him. As usual with men, he manifested you less intentionally, but he still did. And I was like, woman, preach. Like everything that you were saying around, like, because I've always been, oh, this is what really got me. Because you know how I'm of this belief in all areas of life that life just gets to be better and better.
Yes.
Right?
Me too. Yes.
And so while I can be living proof of that, you know, in my business, in my personal life, et cetera, I haven't yet been able to show the world through my partnership, right? So I believe it and I hold that value, and like that's how it's going to be happening. But like for me being my own walking testimonial, like when obviously I have it with clients who've improved their relationships or called someone in, et cetera. But what I love is, so I don't talk about it that much yet, right? Because that's not what I'm doing at the moment. It's coming though, ladies. Don't you worry. I can't wait because I have so much to say about love always, but I just love having like the rubber having met the road already before we go there. But anyway, but what you said and you were walking proof of inside of your own romantic relationship is this doesn't need to be a place of quote unquote hard work. Like, there's so much. I just have to talk about this, even though it's totally separate from what we're talking about today, but it must be related. Someone needs to hear this because it's on my heart strongly. Like, there's so much programming, even in the spiritual community, around what relationships are intended to look like. And I'm like, they're not a dumping ground for sorting out your trauma.
No, it's the opposite.
Like, that's how I feel. And so many people want to live out all their trauma, all their stuff. Like, why is that what you want? Like, it can actually, I'm not saying no challenges, but I really feel like it can be way lighter than that. I'm like, or I can just sort myself out and like call him in from a more aligned place. And like, there's so many types of soulmates. Maybe I don't need to call in the one where the whole walk is going to be like the trauma exploration. What about the one who's just, you know, helping me move forward and it feels lighter and it's joyful and it's fun, it's my safe place. And you created that, right? You have that inside of your marriage. And I just really want women to hear this because people are also staying in unaligned relationships thinking that like it's supposed to be hard. I'm like, or it's not your person.
Right. And it's a defense mechanism too. Most women will say, oh yeah, well, it's supposed to be hard. And that just makes them feel better because they're in a relationship that's not working.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've always had the belief that the relationship, the love, the marriage, that should be the thing that's like the easiest part of your life, that kind of like is the safety net, is the thing that propels all of your inspiration and ideas. And like, I don't want that to be hard. I want that to be flowy and juicy and like just supportive of me and our family like that. I don't believe the whole like marriage is hard work and you've got to work through challenges. And like, yeah, there's things that come up, but it's like, it's just like with a friendship. It's like, you don't want to work at a friendship. Like you
No,
want support and love from friends.
totally. So I just love, love, love. Can't love it anymore.
Yeah. And I mean, it also really like plays into manifestation, which is you create your own life and you create what you want through your thoughts and your actions and your beliefs. And if you want a marriage and a relationship that is full of love and doesn't have all this like ups and downs and like drama and issues and hard work, then like you can create that by one, like believing that you're going to find that partner that has all of those qualities and wants to build that life with you. But every day, like my thoughts are that my relationship is easy and the love we have keeps growing and life is an adventure. And like, that is what is creating the adventure in our life and showing gratitude together. And I think that was the gist of the podcast that my husband and I did, was like the fact that together we show so much gratitude every day for the life that we're building, for our kids, for the adventures. And like to do that with someone who's on the same page, it does, just to your point earlier, like it keeps getting better and better and better.
I love this. And so that really rang true with me and my belief system as well. And so there was that, and I was like, yum. And then we did our episode together on your show. And then you reached out about the cohort.
Yeah.
And you're not even finished yet.
No, I'm like in it. And we just got the November class schedule. I just put all of the dates into my calendar and I'm so excited.
Yay. And like already so much magic has happened and I love it for you. And so I just want to talk about that and share that. So everyone else who's interested in this container, this is kind of my, like, what do you call it? It's like my bread and butter container. You know what I mean? It's the one that's been in the business for the most amount of time. And so many women have been through it with such great success. And I just love sharing the stories because you know how one of my main messages is business doesn't need to be so hard either.
Yes.
Making money does not need to take 100 years. And I feel like I've always felt that, right? I'm walking proof of it. So many of my clients are, but I think that people feel like it's a fantasy and it's not, because there's so much, again, like there's programming around relationship programming and the online space around what your first year has to look like, what your first year is so hard, so complicated, 10,000 strategies. Like it's so tiring that most people probably don't want to be an entrepreneur, right? Because they're like, do I have to do all those things? Even though their heart wants to, it's like, you're tired before you get started. And I refuse to play in that paradigm, which is part of why I'm here today. And so you have obviously had great success with the work. And before we even get there, I would love to, well, one, can you, because I didn't even fully introduce you. Sorry. This happens to me so well. I just start talking.
I know. I mean,
introduce yourself.
Okay. So actually this is like one of the first times I'm going to introduce myself as like my new title and my new business, because this is all still like pretty fresh. But I am a manifestation and business coach. I say that kind of with hesitancy because I'm still technically employed at Twitter and I will be through the end of the year. But that's a whole nother story. But this is like me becoming a coach and a manifestation coach. So much of it, I really credit to you, Jocelyn. And I'm not just saying that. After I interviewed you, and in our interview, this is also, by the way, really related to the relationship piece, but we were talking about, I think the title of the podcast episode was drop the struggle story and find success now. And in the back of my head, I've been in ad tech, I've been at Google and Twitter, and I've been doing this like sales, business development kind of role for well over a decade now. And, you know, and it's something that I manifested. Like I thought, you know, graduating from college, that success is getting a job at Google. I literally, like, that's what I thought was like the kind of the pinnacle of like, you've made it.
And you're in the Bay Area. So
and I was in the Bay Area, and I'm from
yeah.
Palo Alto, and I'm just like, and that's just like, to me, you know, the programming. And so I learned what manifestation was. I read all the literature. This is at a time where I was in a dead end job. I had gotten laid off 3 times over the course of a year and a half right after college. Like it was bumpy ride. Like it was just, I didn't know who I was. I was living in LA, and I was doing the whole kind of partying and like, you know, thought that the like Hollywood was cool, but really just didn't know like what I wanted or who I was. And kept getting laid off. And now I know that a lot of it was because like I'm sending these mixed messages to the universe, like, what do I want to do? This, that, blah. I'm all over the place. Was totally unfocused. And then I discovered what manifestation was. I read a book by Mike Dooley called Infinite Possibilities. And then I read The Secret, and then I just like got obsessed with it because everything fully resonated. Because I remember in high school, I would write down all my goals, whether they were grades or like wanting a guy to like me, or like, you know, wanted the new pair of sneakers, and like they would always come true. And I knew that there was more to just me being a good goal setter. I knew there was something else at play, because I would write down these goals, and then every few days I would look at them, and I would think of, like, at the time I didn't know what I was doing, but I was visualizing them happening.
Mm-hmm.
And
I love that. I have a client in Feminine Magic and Many, the mastermind, and she told me, we were recently talking about her next level of visions, and she was like, I'm going to draw my manifestation, my vision board. I was like, well, that's a vibe. Like, I haven't done that yet.
Yeah.
And she was like, well, I did it when I was 19 and everything happened.
Yeah. No, it is incredible. Like it is like manifestation and the ideas behind, like it works. It all really comes down to belief. And in high school, with all the goals that I would set, I'd visualize and I'd focus, but I also, in the back of my head, like I just believed that they would all happen. And it was the same, like I wanted to go to Duke, and I just like, I pictured myself at Duke, like I really just deeply visualizing everything from sitting in the lecture halls, and I would put myself in front of like, you know, the Duke Chapel and stuff. And I got in, and I really think it was because of this. So went through this like very lost stage in my early 20s, and then discovered what manifestation was, what The Secret was, and realized, oh, that I had been doing that before. Let me try this, and let me manifest a job at Google. And this is, again, after I'd been laid off 3 times and had no experience. My resume was, I mean, no one should have hired me, but I was like, I'm going to do it. And I did all the visualization, and I pictured myself like riding the colorful bikes. I took inspired action. I emailed people that I knew, that like even just had like friends of friends at Google. I just did everything, and I focused, and I got the job.
I always manifested my full-time jobs also. I didn't really fully know that's what I was doing at the time, but I did all those. It's interesting. I was doing it too.
Yeah. Like, and it comes down to being focused, intentional, really having the belief, and visualizing, which I think visualizing is just so key.
I was listening to, and then we'll go back.
Yeah, no.
Talking to you, but I was listening. Do you know Mark? What's his last name? Lynn. I'm always referencing his work. He wrote that book, It Didn't Start With You, about like generational trauma and how we inherit it.
No, I don't know that.
Really interesting. So anyway, it's about generational trauma. And I was listening to this podcast episode with him the other night, and he was talking about the power of visualization. Mm-hmm. And in relationship to even healing our trauma. And I was like, I wonder what else he has to say. Like, I'm a big proponent of like getting into the feelings of what you desire, et cetera. Like when I wanted to move to New York, when it didn't look possible, right? Like I still came and I visited, like, you know, doing all the things, getting vibes. And he was saying, I thought this was so powerful, that even for something that can feel as like deep as our trauma, he was like, your subconscious brain does not know the difference between a real event
right.
and one that we just like kind of manufactured. So he was talking about, and this makes sense, right? When I think about, I know we're not doing as much like of the energy work and that kind of stuff in the cohort, but just when I was thinking about that part of my business overall in my life, and you're just talking about the same thing for yourself, it was like, oh, like this is why when you do that practice, like every day, the things will come, whether it's like the person who helps you get there or the person, the investment that helps you clear up the things so you can get there, or it just lands, like whatever it is, you get moved down the path. Yeah. And he was talking about like basically helping people like recreate these entire experiences through visualization and feelings to heal. And I was like, yes, this is the way. Like it doesn't have to take forever. Our brains are so in a good way, you know, tough because we were easily programmed, but also fantastic because we can easily trick ourselves out of it.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, there's like, the whole idea of neuroplasticity and like really like rewiring your brain. Like this isn't some like, you know, concept, like spiritual, like this is science. Like you can actually see the brain change as you change your thoughts and focus on what you want. But yeah, no, so I started manifesting and like everything, like and I kind of came up with my own process, and it was like everything that I wrote down would happen, and manifested Alex, my husband, and this move to LA, a career at Twitter, like doing what I thought I wanted to do, which is lead agency development, and got the house in the Palisades, which I loved. And then all of a sudden I just, I realized, well, something happened in November of 2020, I got laid off from Twitter. Well, I was almost laid off, but what happened is I'm like, well, I'm not getting laid off. I'm on maternity leave with my third baby at the time. And I'm like, well, I need to work at Twitter. Like this isn't an option. So I got rehired before my employment ended. But it was that moment where I'm like, is this even what I want to do with my life? Like I manifested back my career, but it was a moment of like, I need to think about what I actually want, which is like, what is aligned with the core of who I am and my authentic self. And I remember sitting with Alex, and I had wanted to start a podcast forever. And I wanted a podcast to be about finding your purpose, because I didn't have a purpose. And I was like, maybe if I just interview a bunch of people who have like found their purpose, like, it will help me figure it out.
Inspired action.
Yeah.
Even when you don't know what you're doing, what it's
right,
for.
Right. So I bought all this stuff. But it was in November of 2020 when I got rehired at Twitter that I was sitting with Alex. I'm like, he's like, well, you're so obsessed with all this manifestation stuff, and you could talk about it for hours and hours. Like, why don't you do something about that? And I'm like, well, yeah, but who's going to want to listen to me talk about manifestation? And like, they're going to think I'm like some like weird, you know, hippie that's like believes in all this like magic. And he's like, well, maybe there's like a way to, I don't know. So anyway, I wrote my first 2 episodes with a 1-month-old still on maternity leave, took a podcasting course, and I like loved every moment of it, and put out my first 2 episodes, like just kind of into the ether. I had no idea like who would listen. And all of a sudden I'm looking at like people are listening. I'm like, well, how are they finding this thing? I didn't even have social media.
The podcast algorithm is wild. We don't know how it works, but like, thank God. Cause it's
I know.
easy.
I know. No, it's crazy. But so I started talking about manifestation, and I started interviewing manifestation coaches. Everybody was like so excited about what I was doing. And I cannot tell you, Jocelyn, like when I started actually like getting some momentum and interviewing people, it was like, and then I went back to work. It was almost like taking drugs or something. Like I would be so lit up. I would then like do an interview, go back into work, and like go on a sales call and just crush it, because I was just like in that energy of alignment and feeling good. And it was like, everything started working, and like I was manifesting more for myself, and we were just in such a good place. And I realized, okay, this is what I want to do. And then I found you and I interviewed you and we talked about, so at the time I was like, well, I would love to be like a coach, but coaches don't really make any money, old programming. I'm like, well, and in order for me to make a lot of money, I have to stay in ad tech in this career that I've sort of pigeonholed myself in, because that's the only way I'm going to make multiple six figures. Like I didn't know. And then I heard your podcast on Steph Caldwell's, or your episode, and then had you on, we talked about like how it doesn't have to be hard. And that was one of the things that like, I just so fundamentally believe, which is like going back to the relationship shouldn't be hard. Like I didn't want to start a business that was going to be hard. I did not want the struggle story to be mine. Like I just wanted it to be easy and fun. And of course, like challenging. And I'm not talking like challenging is different than hard. And it's a different energy, right?
There's
like it's
growth, right?
Yeah.
We know there's going to be growth.
Yeah.
It's very different energy. Yeah.
Totally. And then I just like, after I interviewed you, I just was like, there's something about this woman that I respect so much that I feel like, and I still didn't at this time realize how much you could make as a coach, but I was like, if you're doing it, like, I want to maybe do it. Like there's something that I wanted to emulate. And then I started following you, like, and going back and looking at all the stuff that you had done. And then I saw that, okay, you can actually make really good money as a coach. And it was kind of one of those moments where I messaged you. I'm like, I think I want to do the cohort, but I don't have a business. Like I'm just doing this podcast on the side. And you're like, look, you have this waiting energy right now. It's like, when is it going to be the right time? And I was like, you're right. Like and then you also said, by the way, this is the perfect time because you can leverage like having this full-time job as the security while you build this out slowly. And I was just like, I was going to kind of wait. And then all of a sudden I'm like, what am I waiting for? Like, what am I waiting for? And there wasn't anything. It was like, I know that this is the thing that lights me up. I know I want to help people. I know that if I were able to really teach manifestation in the way that I've learned about it and all the experiences I've had and the stuff that I've read, and I know it works, if I can help people change their life and just be happier through this, like that's the life I want to live. I don't want to be in ad tech. Like that's not the legacy I'm going to leave. And that's not how I want to inspire, people, my own children, the next generation. Like I started realizing like I had been playing small. And so I decided, and I remember I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. And I talked to Alex and I talked to my parents too. And they're like, do it. Let's see. And they were very supportive, even though they're, more conservative and I wouldn't say old school, but like everything that I was doing was like, what is this? Like, what are you trying? Like, what business are you trying to, like, they didn't even know about coaching really. But I decided and I emailed you and I'm like, I'm going to pay in full. And I'm going to just like commit to this thing. And I emailed you and I remember saying in my email, because I always do this thing where I pretend I'm like in the future. It's a visual form of visualization where I'm pretend I'm in the future and I remember the moment as like my future self. And I was writing this email to you and I was thinking about my future self, like in 5 years, remembering the moment of writing this email when everything changed. And it did. And like Jocelyn, like so I guess I started in the cohort in what?
Was it August?
I think I didn't start until September.
I think you, well, you joined during the Go All In Sale in July.
Okay. So then I started in August.
Paid in July. Oh, and then I was like, you can start whenever you want.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's what happened. So I know you paid in July and then, because you wanted to wait a few months and then you came back and you're like, actually, just kidding. I want to start now.
Yeah. Well, okay. So what happened was like, I was doing the podcast, which was taking up, a few hours a week. And I'm like, am I going to have time to do anything else? but I started just making things a lot more streamlined with like I was only recording on Wednesdays, and then I was like doing the editing on Fridays and then publishing the next week. And I'm like, I have time for like maybe taking on a client and just seeing if anyone is interested. And so I signed up with you. And then I think it was like 2 weeks later, I was just like sitting, having a glass of wine at the Palisades Village by myself. And I was just feeling like really good. And I was, I had just like released an episode where it was a solo episode, and I was getting a lot of great feedback about people who were saying like, God, I didn't believe in manifestation. I just manifested a XYZ job. I just manifested like a love, and like everything. I just was feeling really good. And I'm like, I want to help someone. And so I went in with the intention of like, I want to like actually do this. And I just did one post and one story on Instagram.
This is when you were in the cohort though.
Yes.
Your first month, you were already in the
cohort. I was already in there. Yeah. That's right. I'm sorry. It was the first month though. So I was in the energy.
Your very first month in the cohort, because I remember this whole thing. You were in the cohort already. Yes. This was your first month.
And this is
just for a little background though, because we're just going to the juicy part. You were going a little like, you were really weren't doing it on purpose, but you kept like over complicating.
Yeah. No, and I'm like, you're right.
So before we get here, let's back up to the
part. Okay, back up.
Understand where we came from.
Yes.
Okay, sorry. This is normal.
Getting ahead of myself. No, I know. So we signed up, I got started, and the first, I think one of the first sessions that you led, I was like, I don't even know where to start. Like, there's just like, and I had already watched, many of the, I think like 3 of the modules. And I was like, this is all so good, but it felt really big, like, because I also had limited bandwidth. I'm like, do I start with a website? Do I start with like, what? And you were like, you just simplify, like, you don't need to overcomplicate everything.
And one of your big things was not wanting complications and not wanting stress in your business.
Exactly.
So it's also really important, right, to move with your energy, which I always talk about. We are not all the same. It is so important to build the business in alignment with like our specific energy.
Totally. Oh, and I wanted to mention one thing about that, because I think that this is something that really helped me. And I don't think a lot of women do. Back to what you were saying about, it doesn't have to be hard. I purposefully will never read the stories of like the struggle or, I only look for like, I'll even like Google, like, coach that made it really easy, or like just easy. I don't want to even like put in my mind the thought that this has to be hard. And I think a lot of women do, they want to like read how other people like failed or like what the struggles they went through. And I'm like, no, I only want to know about the success. I only want to know about all. My
business was not a struggle story, but I think there's phases of all of our lives that were.
Oh my God, of course. I'm not saying that it's smooth. And by the way, that would be so boring. Like I don't want to live a life that's just like this.
Right.
I want some like this, but I don't want it to be, I don't want to go through like prolonged periods of stress or worry and doubt. Like, it's okay to have those moments, but like,
I know what you mean. I was the exact same way. I absolutely was totally unavailable.
Yeah.
Hard.
Yeah. So we got started, and I was like, I do not want this to feel stressful or complicated. Like, I don't need that. I don't want that in my life right now. I want this to be additive. I want this to be exciting. I want this to be like, the reason why I loved doing the podcast was because it felt so in alignment that it was energizing me for not only like work, but also being a mom and being a wife and all the stuff that I do in the community and stuff. And it's like, I don't want this to take away from it by taking on too much or by doing it in a way that doesn't feel good. And so, so you helped me like see that, okay, it does not have to be complicated at all. Like, just start with like, there can be a process, and you don't have to do it all right now. And you can hold off on doing certain things and just focus on like what you want to do right now. And that's when I realized, okay, like I want to just take on a few one-on-one clients, which I had not done yet. And it's not going to be hard. They're going to come to me. And so are we ready to go to that part?
Yes.
Okay. So that's where I put one post. What do you say? Post.
You put up an Instagram story.
I post.
I love how you're like, I don't even know what I was doing. Yeah.
I did a post in an Instagram story, and it was like, I was in like, this is when I was sitting at the village, and like in a really good energy when I did this. I was just feeling really good. I knew that I had the support of the cohort. So if like whatever was happening, I was ready for it. I am in sales, but I'm not like a salesy person when it comes to this. Like I can't do the like masculine, like, do this. And also I've learned now that I'm a projector, and I'm more about waiting for the invitation, and then I can, so yeah, I got my first 5 clients just within the next week. And then I'm like, okay, I cannot take on anymore. Like, I don't know what I'm like, I don't have the time. But then I realized how much I love coaching and how I'm really good at it. And my clients now, I mean, they've all seen such huge transformations in their life. Like I have a hairstylist, I have an actress, I have an aspiring writer, I have someone that I work with at Twitter, actually 2 people, and all in different kind of phases of life. But I would realize that we all ultimately want the same thing, which is happiness and fulfillment.
Be happy. It's so funny. Well, and can we celebrate? So your first month in your business was a 12K month.
Yeah. That was
doesn't have to be hard, ladies.
No, it no, and that's my
Instagram post and an Instagram story, and being in the vibes and joining a container where you'd be supported, because you also mentioned that you've done other business coaching.
Yeah. I did
other programs. I don't know what they were.
It was like getting certified to be a manifestation coach.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah. But it did not have the
like business
portion. It did, but it wasn't like you. Like it wasn't the same kind of energy vibe. It was,
well, I'd love to understand too, because I remember one of the things you said originally in the cohort was you were like, oh, this is already exceeding my expectations. And obviously your first month was a 12K month, and probably way easier than you ever thought possible. Yeah. And we haven't even finished the container yet. So we're like in the early days of your business. Yeah. But I would love for everyone to understand too, what's been so powerful for you about the cohort.
Well, first of all, like I know I'm a great coach now, and I know that I'm a powerful manifester, and I know that I can teach manifestation, and I think the podcast is great and everything, but I had no idea like how the strategy behind actually building a business. Like I had no idea. I didn't know. I thought maybe, okay, I get a website and then, I post a little bit, but I just had no idea. And I've just found so much value in everything from what you teach, and, in terms of how to position yourself, like your voice, your brand, like everything that Emily has done with the branding piece. Like there's so much that I didn't know that I needed to know. You know what I mean? Like
it's one of those spaces where it's like, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh my God, thank God I did this, and didn't try to figure it out on my own. And then had to like do this like in a year, and then backtrack and start over, or like, cause I just like went in the wrong direction, or spent so much time focusing on something that is like not necessary, or not going to provide a lot of value to me, or, my followers or my clients. But then also I think the messaging classes have been so, so helpful. And I I did not have a website at all. And after I watched the modules, I'm like, oh, this sounds like fun. Like I want to create a website, and your whole like template for the offer I thought was really helpful. And then doing the classes with Shani and her reviewing the website, and she's really good.
Shani
Like
is a brilliant copywriter.
she's so
And she's such
good.
a good teacher.
Yeah,
You know,
she's
sometimes
really,
people are good at doing something, but it's hard for them to teach it. She's such a phenomenal teacher.
yeah, she really is. And I'm kind of one of those people, I'm like, I don't even think this needs anything, but let me see what they have to say.
Totally.
And then I'm like, oh my God, it needed so much. And this is so valuable. Like she's really, really good. And Emily as well. I thought I had my brand like vibe down, and she gave a bunch of just very interesting ideas that I didn't even think about, just how to incorporate more of like these brand elements into my social media and into the website, and just switching around some things. And like, again, it's all stuff that like you don't know until you learn about it. It's not like I didn't go into the cohort really with an expectation. It was just like, I want to learn from Jocelyn. And I'm like, I don't even know if I need the messaging or the branding or the healing.
Everyone needs it, trust me.
Yeah, no, I know, but it's like, I just wanted to work with you, and
Totally.
all of this stuff has just been an added bonus.
And I'm just really here. And the reason that we do so much inside the container, from the messaging, the branding, all the packaging and strategy stuff with me, the emotional wobbles, the healing, right? There's everything's available, and you get to choose how much you desire to take in. But I'm really here for like building a legacy.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
And so working with me is not just like, I'm very of the spirit of helping you step into like a business that almost becomes bigger than you are, you know, like, cause that's what's in my heart always. Like, of course the business is us, but I'm like, I don't want to have you out in the world with some like rinky dinky brand. I'm like if you want, like, you know, and we all have different levels of status. So I'm like, if you want a big name in this world, right? And like it's big is relative, right? Like I don't need to, like, someone might want to be like Tony Robbins, and someone else, I don't know, their greatest aspiration is to get to 50K a month. Who knows? Yeah. But whatever it is, to me, it's like, and I'm a woman who's like a legacy type, right? Like I desire for my work to be known, because I desire to have such massive impact in the world, you know? And so I'm going to always support you in creating a business that actually has the foundations to create a legacy, so you can actually go as big as you desire to go, and not feel like there's all these weird like gaps and hurdles and having to backtrack, like you said, a year later, and this, that, and the other. It's just not, to me, not necessary. I also have a background in sales and marketing, so I think that I'm naturally oriented towards like creating a business that is actually like highly marketable.
Yeah, totally. And and again, that's why I wanted to work with you.
But not having it be hard.
We don't want it to be hard. But I think also, like, especially in the manifestation space, there's a lot of business coaches out there that, you know, it is more of I don't know, everyone says the woo woo, but it's more of the spiritual stuff. And like, I don't need that. I wanted the like proven strategy, and I wanted it from someone who's not only done it and done it well, but done it relatively recently. Like, you know how
to like get you off the ground and go.
Yeah,
like I'm been there. I'm at 8 figures, and I was where you were like 15 years ago.
right. Like that's totally true. But I don't want to learn from someone who's where I am 15 years ago.
That's what I mean. Like, because also you start to have it's a little different in digital work, obviously, but when there's a live component, like I think that, we'll see. I haven't been in this career for 15 years yet, but it's like, I still remember what it was like earlier. I'm not so far away from it that I'm just like, I don't know.
Yeah. Because I think like one of the biggest things for me, and we talked about this in our one-on-one a month ago or so, which was like, I know what I want to do. And I know I understand my mission. Like, I want to serve people. I want people to be happy. And I know that they can through belief and through thoughts and through manifestation. Mm-hmm. So that I always feel very like certain and feel good about, but the showing up on social media, that was like a big thing for me. And I had fears around, just like what people think way too much, and like not showing off, and like, where's the fine line of like showing a life that, that I'm actually living and that I want to inspire people without coming across as like, X-way. And you really honestly helped me a lot with that, because, first you made me realize like you are building a business, and that you have to, as much as it is, you're building a business that's bigger than you and you want to leave a legacy, like you do separate your personal life from that. And you can think about your business as really building your business, and social media is a piece of that. And you do want to inspire, and people do want to see like your life, and they do want to see the cool things you're doing, and the beautiful home that you live in, all these things. Like, don't play small because you're worried that you're going to like trigger someone. That's on them. And I just needed to hear that, because I think that
the beauty of your life, particularly for you as a manifestation coach, is going to be the reason that people hire you.
Right.
I don't mean like beauty, like, oh, everything needs to be perfect and pristine.
No, I know.
But I mean like us being our own walking testimonial, right? Yeah. Like, it's sort of like me being a business money coach, but I won't talk to you guys about money. Kind of weird, right?
Right. Yeah. So I think that there was that piece too. That,
and this is also very normal to have felt
the fear of what people think. I know it's intellectually, we all know, right, that it's holding us back, or that like it's not necessarily real, and but when you're in it, and when you're just starting, especially like for me, it's just like, it's very real.
It is real. And this is why we have support. I mean, especially now that you have it, can you imagine doing this without it? I never considered that road, and I don't understand. I'm like, winging it is not a ticket to success.
No. I even like, I mean, this is smaller scale, but like I was trying to wing it with, like just figuring out like the tax stuff, and just like and I'm like, why am I doing? I just wasted 6 hours like Googling what's tax deductible and what. I'm like, I'm just gonna freaking hire a CPA right now. And
like right now.
Yeah, like right now. What am I doing? But it's the same. Like, why are we, and you talk about this a lot. It's just like invest in yourself, because it's going to, the whole point, it's not, you're not spending on yourself, you are investing in yourself.
I always say investing yields dividends.
Yes.
Like, not just in the stock market,
right?
In your business, in your life. Like, this is how we get there.
Yeah.
Including with the accountant.
I know. Yeah.
I invest everything, like everything that I desire support with. I find we can all find someone, whatever spending level, whether it's in your personal life, in your business, we have got to have support.
Yeah, we really do.
And how has it been for you as well? Because I am, especially, the cohort is like, we do need to get the tangible business in place. I always talk about this, like our masculine structure to hold our feminine. Right. Of course, I do a lot of, magnify, manifest, receive is all wealth energetics. FMM is a lot of embodiment work and witchy stuff and magic. There's so many different elements that come into play at different pieces of your journey, and also based on what you're desiring to step into. And then the cohort, of course, is more tangible, because that part also needs to be there for all these other things to land as well. Or some people do the other things first and then step into the cohort. Everyone does what they want to do. That's amazing. We need to just figure everything out. But also, I am highly spiritual, and you know, I am highly focused on energy and all of these things. So how has it been for you? Because it was interesting for me when I stepped into business coaching, because I was not like the mindset coach, the totally woo-woo spiritual coach, or like the super hardcore, really masculine style business coach. I was like, I don't resonate with any three of these boxes.
Yeah.
And so my work in the cohort is basically like, I bring a lot together. And also because I believe that we're multidimensional women, and that servicing us in one way only is going to get us, not going to get us very
Only
far.
one kind of
Boring.
result.
One kind of result. And it's usually boring. And like, I'm not turned on by experiences like that.
Yeah.
So how has that been for you? Because I know there were some things too where you're like, do I need to do webinars? I was like, babe, I don't even know what this webinar technology is. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah. No.
But just the multidimensionality of the container, because we do cover, there's a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I like, again, I think that that's one of the things that I didn't know I was looking for that has been so wonderful. And I don't want to throw the other course under the bus or anything. It was great, but it was taught by a male, or the business piece was, and it was very like the talk about masculine energy. It was like, you know, the whole like social media strategy, like add a bunch of people, comment on the thing, blah, blah. I'm like, that does not feel good. And I'm not going to do that. Or it's like, and then, you know, message and say like something like kind of related. That's not like that's just like feels phony. And like, I'm not going to do that.
And it's also the opposite of what I believe in. But again, you probably weren't thinking about this, of feminine business.
Right. No, it was not, but there was a lot of good things that I learned, but it was all very much like, you know, it's a numbers game. It's a blah, blah. And I'm like, well, there's something that there's part of that is true. And I do believe it is a numbers game in terms of like, you know, the more people you reach, obviously, like, but I want the way I want to work people, the way I want people to find me. I want it to be organic. I want it to come from a place of alignment, not force.
And you also know way too much about manifestation to go down a road like
that. No, I know. Right.
Talk about moving.
It's like the opposite. It's a very meta thing for me, because it's the opposite of what I fundamentally believe, which is. And
that you're a projector, like, so get out of here. That was.
Yeah.
But it's very interesting, but I think a lot of people learn that. I mean, how many of us get spammed on Instagram and Facebook all day long? I mean, it's exhausting.
You're like, no, ew, I don't want, like, that just turns me off from whatever the person.
I like block everyone. I'm like, or don't respond. I'm not interested in any of it. But also I have compassion, because this is what these people learned, or I assume they wouldn't be doing it.
Yeah.
Because why else would you waste your time like this? So how's it been to just even have the felt experience? Because it's one thing to know something intellectually. It's another thing to feel it yourself, of like, oh, wait, I can do this my way. And it gets to be easy. And of course, you know, in some ways you're just getting started, which is amazing.
Yeah.
But like, you get to carry this vibration of like, let it be easy, let it be easy, let it be easy the whole way through to inform your decision making. And obviously we have help for the places it's not easy, etc. Like, how is that, getting that kind of evidence in your business? Because you have it from other areas, right? But it's like, as you see, even when you're successful in a corporate job, that does not immediately translate to like being 100% confident and ready to go as an entrepreneur. No. They're totally different.
Yeah.
When women, sometimes I'm like, I get it. I've made a lot of money in corporate before, but like, you're still doing what people tell you to do. I mean, you're like managing, but you know what I mean? It's someone else.
No, I mean, I totally know what you mean. I think that it's not only this, like, let it be easy vibe. It's like, let it feel good vibe. That's what I lead with, which is like,
I love that. I guess they're synonymous to me, but I totally, whatever language works together. Well,
because easy, I think easy can sometimes be boring. And I like to feel just like really good about what I'm doing. And if like, when I was doing the website, for example, and I used a lot of like, again, your help and like the templates and I would work on it when I was like feeling it. And then the moment I'm like, oh, like getting frustrated, I'm turn it off. Done. Let's move on to something else. Like I just, cause this is also what like the whole principle of manifestation is like, feel good, attract more of that good feeling. Like I know that when I don't feel good, that's not the energy that I want to build a business on. And so, and that's why I'm like, I love all of the different modules and being able to look on I want to go back into Facebook and into our group and just, there's so much stuff in there that's another
because I've been running it for so long.
Yeah. But it's so much good stuff, but I literally have not had a chance to go through all of it.
Isn't it amazing? You don't even have to if you don't want to.
Yeah.
It's
no, but I want to. I
know.
Yeah.
I just love that the container is like, you get to take as much as you want to take. And like, do you know what I mean? Because some people want to watch and do everything and come to every class. I've had clients who like dip in and out, but they're good, right? Like, I love this structure for the cohort because I do feel like building a business is a very personal journey, or sometimes people are really involved and then they need to like take a step back, do their thing, and then they come show back up again. Like I really enjoy the spaciousness of the cohort.
Yeah, me too.
Because I get tired if it's me, for example, like I can't have to go to something all the time for months, or I'm like exhausted. Like it's too much.
Yeah, I really do too. And I don't feel like there's been a few that I've had to miss, and it doesn't feel like stressful, but I'm missing them.
Yeah,
because there's going to be replays and the spaciousness, like for me, and the fact that I do have a lot of other stuff going on right now, like is just, it's been exactly what I needed, just flowy. And like, it's there. I can like go spend 2 days in a row, like really getting into everything and building. And then a couple of days, just not, doing like just light stuff. And,
I love this. This is exactly how I move also.
Yeah. I mean, again, like I want to build this business from an energy of just positivity and feeling good. And I don't want the struggle. I don't want the stress. I don't want the pressure. Like I want it to, and I know that a lot of people don't have that. I feel very, very grateful and I don't ever use the word lucky because I don't really believe in luck.
I do not believe in luck.
Yeah, I feel very grateful for my situation right now. Because
can we talk about what you manifested and through your job? You also did manifest this.
I know. I actually have not shared it yet publicly, but I can because I'm going to soon. Actually, I don't know if I can. I don't know. I don't know if I can.
Whatever you're allowed to say.
I don't think I'm allowed to say anything yet.
Okay.
I don't want to deal with
that's okay.
Potential. But yeah, I can, I'm sorry, you're going to have to like cut, you might have to cut this. Well, so I guess I can just say that one of my big manifestation goals for 2021, I wrote down, and I write down my list, like my big list of goals, in my notes app on my phone. And one of them said, get 6 months to work on my business. And I thought when I wrote this down that I was going to have to like build savings of 6 months of like get some clients in and just like have 6 months of savings so that I could quit and then like go all in. And something else happened where I was able to get that 6 months and I'm still leaving, but it happened in a very serendipitous way that this is like what the universe is and what manifestation, how it's so freaking powerful, because you never know how things are going to happen. But when you focus on the end result, when you focus on the feeling that you want and you're specific and you're intentional, like I don't even want to say magical thing, but like it will happen.
It feels like magic, but it's not. I know it's so interesting talking about it because it's like, it feels like magic because you can't see it and you can't predict it, but it's also replicable.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah. And I still have moments where I manifest something and I'm just like, oh my God, I cannot believe this happened. Like the exact dollar amount or like the exact physical like moment that I visualized or like the thing or the like it's crazy that even though I've been doing this intentionally for 15 years, I'm still blown away by how incredible this thing is
I
that we
think
all
we
have.
all are continuously. I am as well. I've now been having a crazy experience of things happening in my life. And then I remember that I dreamt about them years ago.
Oh, whoa.
Isn't
Yeah,
that
you must be like with your 100K month, like was that something that you now I'm like interviewing you.
now I'm going to interview you.
No, but how, I mean, talk about quantum leaping, but like, was that intention? Like, did you write it down somewhere or was it just like,
I was doing my money work for sure. But it's funny because so I spent, and for the ladies who want to go deeper, I have a podcast episode on this if you look earlier in the show. But it's interesting because I spent, right, because I quantum leap from 50K to 100 and I didn't have any numbers in between. And obviously that's very atypical. And this is, I had 100K revenue month. So when I say cash months, it's like 100K in the bank, revenue is like revenue over
payment
time,
plan,
right? Yeah. And then I was like, so what happened? So I had been manifesting it, but I'd also gotten kind of tired of manifesting. Like in a way, I was almost, because I was hanging out around 50 or at 50 for, in my world, a long time. But you know, I'm kind of like a fast energy person. And I was desiring it. And I was at this point where I knew I was like, this is strange. Like it almost had started to feel weird to me that I wasn't there yet. Cause I was like, you know, I know all these other women who are their work. I know them pretty well, the vibes. I was like, I am at that level. Mm-hmm. Like I knew energetically, like the way I teach, the quality of my programs, my own energy around my, like, I knew I was there. So it was almost perplexing to me that it hadn't happened yet. Mm-hmm. Even though you could be like, oh, well, you've only been in business for 2 years, blah, blah, blah. We have already like opted out of the time story, right? So like that was something earlier in my business so that I really had to let go of, was that being new meant something around your money. Yeah. Right. Like, oh, if you're new, quote unquote new, you can only earn a certain level. Letting go of that very early on really helped me get here. Yeah. But anyway, I knew I was at the level. I felt that I was at the level. I would say I'm always, you know, doing like, I mean, I teach money in so many ways in so many of my containers, but yes, I was in the work. But it's interesting. It's like, I was kind of coming in and out of it, you know? And then right before I was
coming in and out of what?
Like actually manifesting it versus not, actually doing the work I would do to manifest something versus not. Like sometimes what happens with me is like, my energy will just kind of like, I won't always, because I'm a little atypical, which is why I like to teach this, and that my manifestations tend to be big quantum leaps, like when it comes to money. Yeah. It's been my whole business. I've never moved linearly with money. And so what I'm learning now is that like, that does require a certain amount of energy, right? Because you're not just like, oh, let me have the next best thing. I'll be like, I'm doubling my income, you know, which now it's bigger numbers. But this has been the way I was since the beginning. So sometimes what happens, because it is a decent amount of energy to hold to do that all at once, even though like I wasn't doing it on purpose, just realized this is how I do it. So like, let's go teach it now. So other people can do it too. But anyway, so sometimes when I was at earlier in 50, for example, getting to 100 felt like more of a stretch. So I do the money work, but it didn't feel, you know, that feeling when it feels certain in your body. Oh yeah. Like, oh, this is happening. I didn't have the certainty in my body yet. So I know then I need to stick with it, right? Keep going to have the certainty. But then sometimes I'll be like, I don't feel like doing this right now. Or I'll get sidetracked with other parts of life. Or I was just having fun and dating a lot this summer. Like I was kind of in like, just always running my business, but I was more like just pleasure-based cruise control, not like I'm calling this next thing in. But actually I did very well during that time too, because like pleasure is also a money maker, just like feeling, or like, what do you say, feeling good. And I was just having fun and living while also having my business. And then it just hit me, and I was like, I need to refocus on this. Not need to, like, from a place of scarcity or desperation. It was just time.
Yeah.
And it was interesting because I also got my dog. So I was kind of distracted with her, which really goes to show money does respond to what you do, but it largely responds to the inside game. It's like, I always say money, yes, responds to what you do, but it's who you be. It's not like that 100K month, right? It was the cohort. I've had the cohort since May of 2020. It's not like, oh, well, it was a new program or something. The cohort has been on the scene.
Totally. I mean? Wait, one thing about money, which is relevant, because we were just talking, like, with money too, like, I will not, like, I'll only look at my like savings or bank account or like brokerage account if I know it's gone up. I will never look, like, if I know the stock has gone down a little bit. I will only look at my like scarcity. Real estate, if at a point where they're like, oh, real estate is really hot, I'll look at it and like get that little like, dopamine hit. But I never ever allow myself to even like go there if there's like any sort of like, if it's on like the down, or if there's a lack, like I just won't even look at it. Like I won't even entertain it. Like I only want to see.
I have like 2 points. Like I get that, but also sometimes people are avoidant around their money.
Oh yeah. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about just like to like feel good. Like I want to feel good about money always.
Totally. But I think in the beginning, right? So if someone, for example, has a lot of debt that they're not facing, or et cetera, like it depends on where we are in the journey, but like an avoidant tendency does not create more money. I'm not saying that you're doing that.
Oh my God, no. I'm glad you said that. And 100%, like it's not avoidant. I'm just saying, like, for like your day to day, if you have like, obviously, like you want to be practical about debt and you want to be practical about paying things off and doing things on time. But from like a feeling good energy about money, I will only do the things that I know that are going to make me feel good.
Yeah, totally. I just have like, I'm just speaking from money coaching is really also, it's like where we are, what we do. Yes. You know what I mean? Yeah. But when you're asking about but yeah, no, I hear you. Like, I'm not obsessing over I'm more focused on how I feel than I'm focused on like, what is the hardcore dollar that's there?
Yeah.
Also, because that can change. Like, it doesn't really like mean something, but it doesn't, Mm-hmm. This is a whole separate conversation on like money and stuff. But anyway, so I got Brooklyn, and well, and also just for anyone who is feeling avoidant, because money is such a triggering topic for people. So I do want to say, it's like, if there is a space of like, oh my God, but I've created this whole blah, 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 like this is also work we can do to like heal that relationship. That does not have to be the rest of your life where you feel like you're running, and realize how much programming that we have around debt, and like what we've done with our money. And debt was just the decision to pay for something over time. And the United States government is trillions of dollars in debt. So don't let this place F you over with how you feel about money. And like, I could go on and on. There's so much, but just know, I'm like, there's no need. If you have been avoidant, there is no need to be in shame. DM me to find out which program is going to be good for you. Cause like, we can move on from this and have a much juicier relationship. And I totally understand what you're saying. I don't obsess either. Like, but I'm just usually focused in general, like making sure the structure is there around what I have, and then where am I going, And so then that month I got Brooklyn, and I was committing to the work in a way that I had kind of like been slipped around on the few months before, but I also had created that certainty in my body. And then when it happened, it's so weird because it did not feel like a surprise, because I'd already decided that I played at that level. Mm-hmm. I was sure. Like like I said, I was almost replying like, why hasn't this happened yet? Whereas like at another stage, it would have felt like something I couldn't
well, that's
get my energy
manifestation.
around.
Well, that's manifestation, right? Like you just
Yeah.
believed it. And so.
But I did,
Sure.
yeah. And like doing the work to get into the belief. Yes. Right. Because if we could just wake up, you know this, if we just wake up believing everything, we'd all be like heaven on earth, which is the goal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's interesting because it feels to me and it felt to me exciting, but also normal because yeah, I had just already decided and done the work to have it be more than just like my brain deciding, but like my whole body had decided.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then Brooklyn brought me so much joy. I love having a puppy so much. So I was also just, you know, and all the love of like when you have a baby or get a puppy or get married or whatever, your vibration is so high.
Love is such an amazing.
Love is the highest vibration of all.
It is. Yeah.
So and that's how it felt. I was surprised that I didn't hit any numbers in between first because I just assumed that's what would happen. And I did have points where I was very frustrated because I was like, why do I keep it? And 50, I would hit like 50K cash months. I was like, why do I keep hitting this number? Like, why are we not at 60? Like, what the hell is going on? And I didn't realize, this is why I love to teach about quantum leaping and part of how Magnify, Manifest, Receive was born. I'm just on the planet to teach about money too. So like I will go through things and then backtrack and look at the energies and what I was doing and this, that, and the other to like replicate them and teach them. But I didn't realize that I was preparing myself for like an enormous quantum leap, which makes sense if you look at my message and my business, et cetera, versus just like tracking along to arrive.
Right.
And like, that was why it was like, everything was just being arranged. And then I just like, flew. And that's been the way it is for me at all levels. And that's why I get so frustrated when people think like quantum leaping's not real or like somehow it's too woo woo or energy is not real. I'm like, well, science has proven that energy is real and everything is made of energy. So this includes your money. This is everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Business, money, love. There is nothing that's separate from this. And the more that I know, it sounds kind of like new world, new agey, whatever, but it's how I move in the world. And this is way easier from the way I was living before I understood all of this.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I think like both of us, like I'm very left-brained in a lot of ways. Like like that's how I was raised. Like that's, you know, I've
like
always
practical and
just like wanting to, you know, to see like data behind things and like not just like jumping at something because it sounds like great or like, you know, like some sort of fantasy, but like this, what you're talking about, like energy, once you see it for yourself, like, and once you have seen over and over how like your energy creates the things and events and circumstances and things like in your life, like over and over, that's when you become a believer.
100%. This is felt experiences. And so what's interesting is sometimes we're called to invest before we're fully on board, right? And so those are interesting moments in time because you can read all the success stories, you know, all the things, but like you do have to take a leap into the unknown, right?
Yeah. And that is scary. But like if you, I mean,
now I'm more excited by it, but in the beginning it was very scary, especially when, again, being a big risk taker, like I did not have 6 months of savings, all this stuff when I quit my job and, you know, but it was also time. Like the universe made it so odd. Like I had to.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I was in December 2019 and then COVID happened. So they're like, girl, do you really want to go through this with these people? I don't think so.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Because it was just, and also it's just been my journey. I've always been like, and now things happen in a different way. And I have more I feel like I have more energetic command over, I guess like a smoother or more intentionally projected process. When I look at my life and how the big things have happened, I've always been taking big leaps, always.
Yeah. I think one of the things that I do, and I did this when I realized like going in all in on this business that I'm creating is like, and this is kind of a left brain way of thinking about it, but it does help you if you're trying to make a decision on whether to invest in the cohort or do something else. And you're like riddled by that fear. I do this like best case, worst case scenario for each. So if it's like, you know, getting a 9-to-5 job or like going for your business, like best case with the 9-to-5 is like you're super successful and you know you make a lot of money doing something you don't really love. Best case with like going all in on a business that you love is like you're super successful, making a lot of money, feeling totally aligned, leaving a legacy, like, you know, totally trumps the other one. Worst case with the 9-to-5 is you're miserable, you know, end up losing your job, like, and you're frustrated and you look at all these people who are following their heart and feel even just guilty and shame and all. Worst case, going, you know, all in on your business is maybe like 6 months pass and you gave it all you got and it didn't work and you go and you get another job. Like that, for me, like both best case and worst case, there's a clear choice, which is follow your dream, like follow the thing that you want to do. Like, especially,
I mean, you can't lose. And also, right, if there's one thing that's not hard to come by, it's another job.
Right. You know, especially I mean? Right now. Right now is it's the candidates market, I think.
Yeah, because what are they calling it? The Great Resignation. Yeah. Everyone's like, F all of this noise, I'm over it.
Yeah. Yeah. In like all industries.
And I'm not saying to anyone that you have to go from like 0 to like only doing your business and quitting your job. Like we're in different places. Some people have a part-time job while they're also building their business. I built part of my business, just not for very long, in the full-time job. Then I was like over this, went full-time because that's what it was needed for me to do. And also just, I feel like I was pushed from the universe too, because how important was it for me to be in this space, helping women, help them with what I helped them with in 2020? It was like vital that all my energy was on it.
Yeah.
Right. But I didn't have the foresight to know.
Yeah.
You know, that's what would happen. And that's what happened. Which is why it's also so important to just follow desire, even when it doesn't make sense, because I literally quit my job at the end in December of 2019.
That's crazy.
And I'd had my business for 3 months.
Wow.
You know, so, but it was just so strong. And if you ask me like Jocelyn, and then I went and invested in a coaching container that was like practically as much money as I had to my name at the time. But again, did these things make sense? No, not to a linear based person, but look at where I am now.
Yeah.
You know, but I just knew they were required.
Yeah.
And also I
have no regrets, right? Mm-hmm. Like in your whole, like over like the last 2 years now, like there's nothing like anytime you invested, there's never been a regret in an investment.
No, have there been investments that are way more aligned than others? Yeah. Yes. But like, this is why we don't chase dollars in investments. Do not chase someone else's success investing your money.
Yeah.
You have to go where your heart wants to go.
Yeah, for sure.
The end. I feel like the only time that we end up in those places is when we're chasing someone else's money or doing, you know how there's kind of like, there's very much of this like kind of cult mentality in the coaching industry of like, oh my God, she's such a legend. Like, duh, she makes $1 bazillion every month. Like, she must be the ticket. And I'm like, whoa. Anyone that you feel like addicted to, or like you have to be there, or something's not going to happen, you need to like run in the other direction.
Yeah.
And focus, pull your energy way back in.
Yeah.
So what I learned, right. And I'm also, I make my investment decisions now are like, I did invest in the right container for me at that time. I made like 400 grand in 4 months. But also I only took the pieces that I also didn't do like 80% of the things.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you only took the pieces that you like. Yeah.
I literally did like 3 things, but I still think the investment, but I wasn't the client who's going to be like, well, I didn't do everything. Like I want part of my money back. Like, da, da, da.
No.
And I didn't
Oh my gosh.
even, well, some people try to do stuff like this. I'm like, you're insane.
Sorry, my dog is just, one second. Let me just let him out of this office.
Oh, okay. No worries. Brooklyn, what are you doing? So I didn't even go. I went to a few calls. I did a few of the things. The rest of it, I was like, well, we are not going to be doing that much strategy ever. Still haven't done it. Like, no way.
Yeah.
Not happening. I'm not going to be having like a messenger bot on Facebook.
Oh my
and
God.
like just super, because this person who's a genius, like her business was built basically through paid like that whole engine, paid advertising. I was like, no, I'm not doing that. These are the things I'm going to do, these 3 things, and that's it. And thank you so much. This was amazing.
Yeah.
But I made it. I did amazing. I doubled my income.
I feel like, and this has been with some of the other people who were in the first coaching experience with me. It's like, there's so much out there that you could be doing. Like there's a million different things, right? Like there's like, and a million different ways to do those things. And once you like start in this business, like you're going to be targeted like crazy and everything's going to look really good. And you're like, oh shoot, I need to do that now. I need to do that now.
It gets overwhelming.
Yeah. And that's why I think something you're really good at, and you obviously did it yourself, is like just prioritize, like simple. I love the hashtag simplify, because that's how like just simplify everything. Like don't do too much. Like just do the thing that feels good, that you know is going to get you those results right there. And like don't worry about all the other things. Like you can always, if you want to
bring in some extra little fancy things later, we can do
that. Yeah.
We need to start with what is going to be easiest on your nervous system.
I know. And that was the other thing. Like I think it was Shani actually. She was talking about, because I don't have an email list yet. I'm like, oh my God, now I need to do, on top of everything, have like an email, like
slow down.
Like, no, like just hold that thought and like that whole for like 2022 or whenever, but like, I'm not even going to think about that right now.
Yeah. And you can do it. I didn't have, when did I start my I mean, everything's for me, just, it's come from, it's just time.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like it'll be like, okay, because I know a lot. I know a ton of different stuff. I have clients who do things that I've helped them with that I don't even do in my business. I just know, right?
Yeah.
And what's in alignment for my client might not be in alignment for me. I also receive a lot of just like, it's very easy for me to read people's energy and like what they're actually, what's going to be a vibe. And some women like more strategy than others. So I appreciate the level of wisdom that I have in this space. Mm-hmm. I just choose not to do all the things for me, or new things have been introduced over time.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, as called. And I do think there's something to leaning into our edges and doing things we've never done before. Cause you know, sometimes we create these stories around, like at least I'm like this. Before I introduce something new into my business, not a program, but like a strategy or way
like
of doing
Telegram. Things. Why are like, tell me.
I love Telegram. Yeah. I'll feel a lot of resistance and then I do it. I'm like, oh, okay, no big deal. I'm obsessed with Telegram. Telegram is like, I just get to like Voxer out. All of you check my link in bio and join me on Telegram. It's so fun because I literally get to like Vox. It's like mini podcasts because the stories are like 15 seconds. You're putting text on the whatever. And I like to talk. So Telegram is perfect. I just like pick my phone up, hold my phone, share my channeled message or whatever the riff is. It's going to help people. And it's so intimate. I'm obsessed with Telegram.
But why that? over stories on
I do
Instagram?
stories too.
You do both, but
Yeah.
different messaging?
Deeper in Telegram because I can.
Oh, okay.
And also, like, I don't need to be owned by Mark Zuckerberg. I mean, honestly, like, I'm into diversifying.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true.
But again, was I worried about that in the beginning? No. But honestly, like, I don't like the energy of feeling like I'm owned by a platform. We saw Instagram and Facebook black out for that whole day.
Yeah.
You know, so, and I just liked, I'm also on Clubhouse. Like, I like doing new things. Also, remember, my business is the primary vehicle. My voice is the primary vehicle for my business. So those platforms make sense for me. But for example, I'm not like a TikToker. You know, but TikTok, I mean, people have blown up on TikTok, but I don't produce enough of that kind of content for TikTok to fully be like a hell yes for me. But again, I have clients who are phenomenal at that kind of content production.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like the diversity. And also I don't like the censorship on Instagram and Facebook, and I don't have to censor what I like. I literally cannot use the words pleasure and or sex or whatever on Instagram or Facebook without getting shadow banned. It's ridiculous.
Oh my God.
And I'm not even that like explicit and crazy, like considering some of the other businesses that are out there. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I love them all for different reasons. I'm highly visual and I love the different ways of communicating on Instagram, but there is a lot of like big brothering.
Yeah.
And that's it's a weird energy, but also like, I'm not going to stop doing Instagram. I just want to be able to do other things too.
Totally. Yeah.
So that's why, but yeah, I love Telegram. It's just fun. And also now I've had time to play in all these different places, and yeah, it's just nice to be able to pick up your phone and talk. It feels so intimate, and unlike Clubhouse, it doesn't disappear. I like Clubhouse too. They're all so different. Even Facebook and Instagram feel very different. Yeah, and people like taking stuff in different places, and it's fun. Variety is fun for me.
Yeah. But
right
you're
now,
also,
it's not overwhelming at this stage.
That's what I was going to say. It's yours. Like for me right now, like I don't want the variety. Like that's too.
I didn't have it in the beginning. I just did Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah.
Also, I'm just into innovation. It's like it keeps it fresh and exciting. And I think it's also just part of the era. You know, you heard me talk a lot about this new earth era and these like new ways of doing business and the way versus how business was done before. And there is just a lot of like speed and innovation, but it's not intended to be from a place of pressure. It's just, look at even the level. Okay, just within one platform, for example, Instagram, look how frequently Instagram changes. It's insane. For someone who, if you really like keep up with it, right? So it is reflective of, I remember I did this podcast episode with Danny Beinstein in the beginning of 2021, and we were talking about themes for success in the year. And it was like, and I remember the top two things were like initiation and innovation. So that to create abundance was really going to be about this year. And I've totally seen it to be true, like really going for it, right? Like not waiting, going for it, because there was always going to be a lot of density on the planet right now, energetically, as we see, but like, you don't need to play there. And just like creating that sovereignty, and then also innovations, like allowing ourselves to do things. Well, one, that it was going to be happening with which technology, there's been so much. I mean, so many platforms were born this year, like things, and even just within the singular platforms, everything keeps changing so fast. Does not mean we need to do it all, not at all, but that allowing ourselves to even innovate within our businesses and how we do things, that was going to be, I mean, I've seen people already like monetizing Telegram. It's been there for 2 seconds, you know. For me, it's a vibe to have it be a free platform, but I'm just saying, like, I've seen so many different ways of doing things. And to me, it's actually creates freedom because we have the choice to go wherever's in alignment with us and even have it's this option.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just learned quick. I'm like, oh, that one's for me. That one's not, like, whatever.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But anyway, so that's why I like Telegram. I like the intimacy. It feels like I'm on Voxer with my community. Yeah.
Love that.
And then people can comment directly on what you said. It's easier to, like, on Instagram, there'll be all these comments, and you know how it's very hard to see who you replied back to or not. And like, sometimes I miss my DMs. Or if I don't realize, I open it and then move on.
Oh yeah, that's annoying. I can't believe that like, and also with text messages, I just like sidebar, but like, why can't you unread a text, mark it as unread? I think that's so.
I mean, you can mark a DM as unread, but it's like
complex.
Sometimes
I didn't even know.
Oh wait, you can mark a DM as unread, but sometimes, like, as you can imagine, this place in my business, I get a lot, and sometimes I don't even realize. Like, I've gone to say something to someone before, and I'm like, oh, they messaged me, like I didn't see it.
Oh,
that's happened before. I don't even know. So anyway, it's a little bit more, I don't know. It's just felt intimate. It's been fun. And I really like voice messaging.
Yeah.
I don't know. And then, like, they don't have to sit there, look at their phone. You can turn it on. You can literally hit play like you would hit play on a podcast to listen to what the person says and just walk around and do your thing. You're not like sitting there watching someone talk. Mm-hmm. And cool. So I don't know. We'll see. Anyways, everyone, just come find me on Telegram. Yeah. I'm not going anywhere else, but it's been a lot of fun for me. And I do appreciate that it's owned by someone out. Like, you know, can we can just stand to like diversify this space a little bit. We don't all need to be like so addicted to one man's platforms.
Yes.
It's true though. Look how many people, like, I went through this weird energy around it because I was like, people are having psychological issues, mental health issues, scared of running their business, all of this stuff because of one man's dream. We need to like lower the stakes. It's kind of strange. People are like addicted to mastering one person's platform.
Yeah.
I'm like, and again, when I'm such a fan of sovereignty. So like, I'll do the things, I show up, right? Like I'll do a certain amount of strategy, but I'm like, I'm not going to like bust my ass to like dance for Mark Zuckerberg. Are you kidding me? I'm not going to do that.
God. I know.
Like, but no one realizes that's what's happening.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw
there's a lot of weird power energy in our systems that is breaking down right now. And ladies, please don't need to sabotage your business. Please still do your social media. Yeah. I'm just saying we can keep things in perspective rather than writing all of these stories. Look at what people are going through just because of like there's all these positives, right? And that's what I like to focus on, connecting with my community. I'm very into visuals. Like I've gotten so much, I've built such deep community from social media, but I also see how we're allowing ourselves to be harmed because of like a platform.
Right. Right.
And how we intake things and we compare. And then because it is always changing, it creates a lot of this, what are the words? It creates this fear-based searching energy that is like the opposite to that feel-good energy that you're saying that you love, right? That I love too. But haven't you had that feeling where it's like, you feel like, oh my God, there's something you don't know and you need to know it and like, everything's all of a sudden, your energy just leaks out everywhere.
Yeah. Totally.
It's not a good space. It doesn't feel good. And so I feel like, and it creates, and to me, that is this weird loop that starts to create like addiction-based relationships. Like
that's why when I find myself in that moment, no matter what I'm doing, I stop. I literally stop. And that I feel like you can train yourself to do, but like, you're right. Like, because if you keep going when you're in that energy, it will just keep draining you. And nothing good comes from that.
Nothing good comes of it. And the way that they like tinker around with social media, it's like it intentionally creates that feeling within people, which gets them like addicted to it. That's what I don't like about it.
Yeah. Cause then you're going to keep doing whatever it is because you want to feel better. And you're
I'm like, you want to figure it out. Like, think about all the women have businesses. They want to figure it out. Like, oh my God, why didn't everyone see my stories? I'm like, well, what if it doesn't fucking matter?
Yeah. Yeah.
What if
I do
like,
not get involved with that.
What if it's like whoever needs to see things sees them and like, perfect.
Yeah. I really don't care about that kind of stuff.
Good. So that's what I'm saying is the dark side of it, I'm like, that doesn't feel good, but we just get to play how we want to play. But I do not think we need to like, there's whole businesses built on just teaching people how to use Instagram. I'm like, and I get like, great for the person who started the business. That's like a smart business move considering how addicted to social media people are. But I'm saying for like my audience and anyone who listens to this, you do not need to like bend over backwards. Like if you're moving from a place of alignment, if your full truth is online, if your messaging is true to your soul, your offers are true to your soul, your visuals are true to yourself, everything is there and everything is real, not the like version of you that you've decided is like acceptable. I mean, 100% there, you're going to do well.
Yeah. I think actually that's one of the things that has helped me is the fact that I have been so bandwidth constrained. I don't have time to like dig into things like on Instagram to figure it out. It's like over that, move on, next thing where I can actually like yield some result. So in a lot of ways that has actually benefited me. But I think for anyone listening, like if you're in this place and you've been doing something and you don't feel good and you're getting frustrated, like just move on. It will still be there. Come back with a different energy, and maybe someone somewhere will just explain something to you, and then you'll have the answer in a way that feels more aligned.
Yeah, because it's too crazy. And I just don't think that mastering the algorithm is the way, we always talk about Hyman to feminine business. That is not the foundation of the feminine business. Like,
no. And I come from Twitter. I'm like live and breathe this stuff for the last.
Yeah. What's your perspective? You've been working around it.
Right. And I love Twitter and I've loved the company and I've loved working there. And, but I also see how addictive these platforms are. And I don't want to be a social media addict. I don't want to be a social media addict, like as a consumer. And I don't want to be a social media addict as a producer or as a content creator.
Yeah.
So I'm going to, I like will post something like, and now Emily helped me with the branding and like, getting more, but I am not, like post it, don't care who sees it, who comments, who, like, I am getting my message out there because I want to help people. I want to inspire them. I want people to like seek happiness and realize that they're creating their own lives. I do not care what, like how many followers I have or how many people are liking my stuff.
It's ridiculous. If I'd fallen victim to that, I would never be where I am right now. My numbers do not make sense for my size following. Yeah. I've had clients who have way more followers than I do, making way less money.
And it doesn't matter. It's just like, I'm just pretending like the numbers are meaningless. Like what actually matters is like the people that you're
your ability to create connection is what matters.
Yeah.
Connection is the foundation of my business, always has been, more than strategy, more than any of these things. Like, yes, the strategy is there. We have to have it. Like, I feel like everything I'm saying is like a yes, and we also, but like, seriously, it is obsessing about strategy over building deep connection with your audience is pointless. It's like women who come to me and they've been taking like figuring out how to master ClickFunnels. I'm like, okay, why are we doing this right now? You have not even had a 10K month.
I know. My thoughts on all that is like
with your audience.
I'm like, let me connect with it. Let me let people see how valuable what I am offering is. And then I'm going to hire someone who's going to set up the ClickFunnels for me once I'm like further along in my business and like do all like, that's the stuff I don't need to do right this second.
And it keeps us paralyzed and in fear, because then we get overwhelmed, not understanding a system, and we're not even on the same floor of the building as our purpose.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, we're here to make an impact. That should be the first priority as we're making decisions, especially early on.
Like, I almost wish on Instagram, like, they would just delete followers and
I
like,
had that thought last night. I was like, what if we just
everything? Like, how amazing would it be if you just go to this like platform where you can like get educated, and it's not a competition. You don't have anxiety over who's liking what, who's following what, but you're providing value, you're getting value. Like, but then
but that's not what they want.
Right. No, I'm saying, but that's like, that's the dream, right? Is like, it doesn't matter. The optics don't matter. It's the impact.
It's just the impact. And then remember that, like, as your impact grows, like, everything else gets to come with it. Or later you decide, hey, I really want to expand my audience. But it's like, I hear women who aren't making any money saying they want to expand your audience. I'm like, your audience isn't the problem, babe. You are.
Yeah.
We need to center you. This is not, like, I also feel like we create these delusions around Instagram where it's like somehow the audience is the problem. I'm like, this does not make any sense. I never focused on that. I never cared about how many people were following me. I never was like, oh my God, I'm in front of the wrong audience. Yes, we want to expand our voice, of course. Like, this is where, being on podcast, but like,
yeah, exactly. And that's why I feel like with me, that the fact that I started the podcast with just speaking from my heart, I did zero plans to monetize it. Did not care, like, with no plans to grow my audience. Like, it was all organic. And I think that is what made it feel so good. And I think that's also what attracted people to it was like, you can sense that versus like
an engine,
right?
I agree, but that's connection.
Yeah.
And you have definitely been moving from a place of connection. I don't know if you use those words, but observing you, I feel like that's one of the most important things, like, in your life and your brand.
Yeah. And that's why also, like, a big, piece of what I want to do is like the in-person connection. And I'm running some of these manifestation workshops, and because I talked to you about it, like, I can do things that not every, coach out there is doing, because it feels good with me. And it's a way that I want to connect with people.
Yeah.
And like, it doesn't have to be some templated version of like how to grow your business. Like, it's do it in the way that feels good. And with like, when you're coming from a place of wanting to build that connection, of wanting to help, of wanting to transform, of wanting to provide value, then all those other things start falling into place.
They will fall into place. But I do feel that this is a newer way of doing business.
Yeah.
From what I've seen, because I had to consciously opt out of all that other stuff. No one was like, oh, Jocelyn, your life's going to be easier if you opt out of it. I was just like, I don't care what these people say. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I had a coach reflect to me once. She was like, your naivete in the coaching industry really served you.
I remember you told me that. And I loved that, because it's like, that was a piece of advice that you gave me, which was like, almost like, don't look at what all the other coaches are doing.
Like, if you didn't know anything, what would you do?
Yeah. Like, I love that, because I want to do it a different way, but then I'm like, shoot, that's not how you do this. And it's like, well,
we assume because people made money doing something, that must be the only way, but it's programmed.
I remember, like, I was like, Justin, I don't want to do one of those videos that's like pointing at things. And you're like, then don't.
I don't do them. Yeah.
No, I know. But I'm like, but everyone else does it. And it's like, no, we don't. You do it your own way. You can do it your own
way. It's the Wild West out there too. There's a lot of messaging, but it's just, we have to remember too, that like, everything has the opportunity to become programming, or this is why we can't chase other people's numbers. We have to move based on alignment, because if you chase someone else's numbers, you're going to be building their empire, not yours.
Yeah.
Truly.
Yeah.
You have to go where is in alignment. And the most important thing for me with clients, is helping everyone get to their own place of flow, because we are not carbon copies.
No.
And what might excite the hell out of me might be horrifying to you. And like,
Right.
who cares? You're not here. Like, I don't need my clients to do what I do. Not even,
No.
I don't even mean I'm in the category, but just the way that I do things. Like, to me, what's so exciting and being able to see so much around my clients and like their capacity and potential and what will be vibey for them. Like, obviously it's a co-creation, but you know what I mean? Like, I feel like when I talk to people, I get a lot of ideas around, I am very intuitively connected to people. Like, I'm like that in all parts of my life. So yeah, but that's part of the fun, like not turning out like these robots who are clearly like all coached by Jocelyn Kelly Reid. Like, that's a weird energy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I am not into like the culty vibes and coaching or spirituality.
No, it's funny. Like I was targeted by a coach and she reached out and it was the same strategy that I had been taught. And I was like, oh, haha, I know what's going on here. No response. But I'm like, this has like what you just said, like, it was like, this is I know who coached you. I know this, like, like you are a, I don't want to say like minion, but you were literally like just copying, pasting someone else's.
Yeah.
That doesn't, I don't want to do that.
And it's funny to me because we step into these spaces for freedom and then by accident immediately step into getting back in the box.
Yeah. Yeah. And then once you're copying someone's stuff, like thing, then you feel like you're always chasing that. You're always signing up for another course. You're always
the energy that feels like
I can't do it on my own. And it's like, I actually was just did a podcast on this because it's kind of like what we teach children too, is like a lot of like schooling and everything is teaching children, like, you need to look it up in the dictionary, or it needs to be cited, or it needs to be like do a book report. It's like we don't teach them to think for themselves.
No, there was this reel going around that I did love, positive aspects of social media, that basically was saying like nothing about school teaches you how to make money. School teaches you how to be a factory worker.
Right. And just
this is why I'm kind of conflicted about having children. I'm like, what am I going to do? I don't believe in any of this stuff, but I'm going to be the parent. Like, my kids need to go to school. Like, it's so complicated.
But because you can teach them at home. Like, and by teach them is just like encourage them to think for themselves, that their ideas are more valuable than the things that are cited in books.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't believe in any of this stuff. I went to Ivy League school. I did all the things. I'm grateful to my parents who clearly like, supported me in getting there, but it also just helped me get to here, which is, I'm like, this is all programmed. Like, what is this?
Yeah. It's the whole, have you read
dying and slaving away over memorizing and regurgitating and respinning facts.
And it's right. It's not like even like what, yeah, it's just something someone said.
But no one teaches you how to invest your money. No one teaches you how to, like, I don't know, cook for yourself if you don't know how to cook, or like, just do life. What actually goes into buying a house, what you should be prepared for, like things that we end up fumbling along while having invested, some people, hundreds of thousands of dollars in their education.
I know.
And then you don't know how to invest in the stock market.
Or how about just that you should seek happiness, that you should do things that you love doing, that like.
It's wild. I mean, I remember one thing my dad said to me, and also we're in a different era too. It's just interesting. It's like, I knock education some, then I look at my own family, and my dad very much landed where he has so much due to his like commitment to his education, and it's a little, so I don't want to be like, you can't fully knock any one thing.
Well, it's also like, you can't knock people who were raised that way too. Like, it's all.
Or like, I understand why someone who wants to be a heart surgeon sure as shit needs to go to medical school.
Yeah.
No,
of course. But I'm talking about like
lawyer or whatever it is.
But do they want to be a heart surgeon because that's what they really want to do? Or is it because that they think that that's what success is? Because there's
for the people who do, like, there are people, some people need to want to
100%, but I think we need people who want to do it. Totally. Right. And that's very different than someone who's like pushed to go that way because like
these very
society or whatever, parents, or like, I don't want that heart surgeon who like hates his job.
No, there's also a lot of weird things happening in the medical space.
Right. And there's physicians burnout too, because I mean,
doing drugs and performing surgery. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. I hear crazy stories from that world, and like every other world, we're all humans, so our stuff's going to leak into every industry, no matter what it is. But yeah, I mean, I remember my dad said, do what you want and the money will come. And that was like the things he said that to me. And then also he would always tell me the time is now. And I had no idea what he was talking about. Clearly, look at me now. I'm always like, the time is now. Let's go. And I'm like, oh, because, he was a self-made entrepreneur. So like, you're always leaning against an edge. You're always.
I used to hate the quote, do what you want and the money will come. It made me so upset. And it triggered me, obviously, because I was like not doing something that I truly wanted to do. And I'm like, but I chose this and it's like lucrative and I love a lot of aspects of it, but I don't believe in the like, do what you want and the money. And now I'm like, okay, I get it.
Right. And it's not that like you just do what you want and then sit, but always action, always the things. Yeah. But it was almost like it didn't fully register with me until it really did. Like I never was triggered, but it was just there. It was almost like something that just got put on the back burner, like a thought that was on the back burner, which was the same thing as the time is now. And then as I was stepping into the things, I was like, oh, I get it. Because, entrepreneurs think especially successful ones, think very differently than most people.
Yeah.
You see the world. There's this ability to see into the future, even if you don't realize you're doing it. Like an awareness I've had recently is like, it's like, there's this ability to like see into the future when the future isn't here.
Mm-hmm.
And most people don't think that way, do and shut it down, or like afraid to, because if you think about anything, we're here being like, create your dream. Like, so much of my business is like energy and magic and like I know they're real, but it's like, have there been 100 other people before, thousands of other people before me to prove that it's true? No, but like you keep going anyway, because anyone who, I mean, there are like, of course, people have studied the quantum field and like all this kind of stuff, but it's still relatively new. And you're always going to deliver it a different way than even any of those people. But like anyone who's invented, like no one knew they needed that iPhone until they had one.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like so much of what we like, oh my gosh, what was that? Oh, who was that guy? I can't remember. I heard the best quote the other day. Was it from Tom Ford? Like, it was some guy who invented, I don't know, like the first car or something. I can't remember who it was or what he said. It was almost the equivalent of like, if I had asked people what they wanted, they would have told me a faster horse, but like, that quote, we don't even know. So you have to like, so those people of all of us are innovating, are checking in with most people on what's possible. Good luck.
Totally. No, I know. I just on this subject, just because my husband and I were talking about it, I remember in like high school being like, what's going to come after the DVD? Is it going to be like this small? It's like, but little did I even think that everything would be in the cloud. Like,
yeah, you're like, actually it's going to be nothing. It's just going to exist in a cloud.
Yeah. Like that there was no, it was like, oh no, the DVD has to become so small. It's like the size of your fingernail. And then it's like, that makes no sense.
We don't have any,
we don't have anything physical.
But we're doing this too. We're just doing it in different ways. Like all of this we create businesses based on, so, let's say we're in the business of helping people. It doesn't really matter what you do. This concept applies. We're creating businesses based on our belief in human potential.
Yeah.
Truly.
Yeah.
And then it gets to be different.
Yeah.
And we do it ourselves and we help other people do it. But that is futuristic.
Mm-hmm.
Not based on technology. We're in our technology era now. Obviously, there's people leading the way with that. But now we're evolving even further than that, because I think technology will continue to evolve and keep going. But I think so many people are so overly programmed and moving like robots. Now there's, those of us who are like, okay, guys, like wake up from the matrix.
Yeah.
Let's splash some cold water on this.
Yeah.
And like, you know what I mean? We need to get back to like creating our life and not being like slaves to.
That's exactly it. Creating versus letting life happen to you.
Yeah. But in a way it's futuristic because through even, we had, what is it called? Where like all the trains and cars, sorry, my brain is.
The Industrial Revolution.
Yes. Thank you. The Industrial Revolution. We're in our technology revolution, right? There's been all these phases as humans evolve, et cetera. And I believe that right now we're almost in like an energy, I don't know what the words are, but it's like an energy revolution where we're like, oh, we can collapse time. Oh, we can like heal our bodies through changing our brains, or, oh, like it's going.
Totally. No, Jocelyn, I do these, my dad and I sit down and we do these, predictions for 10 years. And we just looked over our 10 years and I put female president. So it's like close to that one, but and then we had like, we said fingerprints at the airport instead of passports. That didn't happen. But one of the things, and then we just did ours, this was like the last time I was with them. So a couple weeks ago, what's going to happen in 10 years. And one of the first thing I wrote is that manifestation will be mainstream and taught in school. And I am like, I
love that. Okay, I can send my kids to your manifestation.
Yeah. Yeah. No, but I want to be taught in public schools. Like, I think something along just teaching the power of belief and the power of controlling like the things that happen in your life and believing that you do have that power. Like, if we can just instill that in the minds of children, the world will be a
totally different place. And I believe that like telepathy is real. Like I was interviewed earlier about my experience doing something else. And all of a sudden I just had this thought around like, oh, how did it impact my relationship with food? And I didn't even see it. And in the comments, this woman wrote like, oh, after you did your activation, how did it change your relationship to food? I was like, what? And I was talking and I looked over and saw she said that. And I was like, here we go.
They've just proven like
telepathy is real.
They took the they can actually read brainwaves and now turn them into words.
Really?
They just did a study on a guy who was completely immobile, paralyzed, and they're able to like read that when he says like water, they can like the machine will read water. So like brainwaves do turn into like there's something there that I think telepathy, or at least being able to turn thoughts into words through a machine or something, will be.
I think it's real. I've just experienced it more in like a psychic sense. This is why I love so much of like the energy side of my work too, because these things just turn on so much more. So I feel like this is where we're going. And we are the type of like, this is why I call it like new earth leadership. Even if that sounds too woo for you, like this is what's happening.
Yeah.
You're leading the way in that.
Yeah.
It's not mainstream right now, not even close.
No.
It might feel like it to us because we're, in the spiritual, but go around in your community.
Oh, I know. But it is like people are more interested in.
They are.
Than they were, I think, 5 years ago.
And as they watch you create your life, they're like, wait a minute, what's going on? Because you become your own walking testimonial and then people get interested.
Yeah.
So I love this. I could talk about this all day, clearly.
I know. Is this going to be like a 2-hour podcast?
We'll find out, probably, because I'm not very into high level editing. Well, Julia, thank you so much. So for anyone who is considering working with me, joining the cohort, what would you have to share?
I mean, well, just do it. And I think just from my experience, like everything we were talking about, there's never going to be the right time. No. Like, don't wait because of XYZ, because, you know, you're waiting until the new year, or you're waiting until, you know, you have this amount in your savings, or you like, just do it now. There's never going to be, what did your dad say? What's his comment, or what's his saying?
He always says the time is now.
The time is now. And that's the thing that I think resonates with me the most in this, is like, because I just kept pushing off this thing that I knew I wanted to do. And as soon as I made that commitment, as soon as I went all in and joined, like, I mean, it was the best decision, because it's what propelled me to actually like do it. And
now you're doing it.
And now I'm doing it. And it's so fun, and it feels so right in every way.
I love it. Thank you so much. Okay, so I will obviously leave your links in episode notes. Do you have anything coming up or anything that you'd like to share?
No, I mean, right now, yeah. If anyone listening is interested in, you know, going deeper on manifestation and creating a life, this is outside of just money or finances or career, like, just if you're missing that purpose and you're missing that meaning. And I always say this, but like, for so long I was like, I know the world isn't seeing the best of me. I know that this is not the Julia Martin legacy that I want to leave, but I didn't know what was missing. And I just
I was like that for so long before.
Yeah. And it's like, it's you can't, and it's like, well, I don't even know what I want to manifest, because I don't know what's missing, but I know that this is not everything that I want to give. So if anyone's feeling like they're in that place, and not necessarily like have a business or anything, but they just are looking
in life, that weird
in life. I work with a lot of women who, you know, it's like, they don't know what it is that they want, and they don't want to be a coach or anything, but they're missing that purpose and meaning. And so reach out to me if that's you.
I love it. It's so funny, because you would ask me if I ever like I've never deleted any part of my Instagram. And I'm like, why would I do that? It's like deleting me. Like, no. And I was scrolling back, and also sometimes I like you to see how fucking far I've come, just because I can see my own energy, and I remember where I was at and like the old places that I lived and where I traveled. I don't know why anyone does that. I would never do that. Like, it's like a visual library of things I was doing before. And also like, there's, you know, like, go see what I was like before. But it's interesting, because even as I was looking, I was, you know, I was very much focused more on interior design and that kind of, because that's what I was doing before. And I looked back and I looked back and I looked back, and I remembered so much and what I was feeling. And I had this like really strong awareness come through. I was like, you were, and the way, and then it just, the way I always felt in life, the way I always felt in the world, the way I always felt kind of different, the way that I was like included, but also felt like other, like, as I realized, like, I'm just not as mainstream as most people. I just didn't know that, what it was. And then I was like, oh, you were always a visionary. You just didn't know what the vision was. Like, I could see it in myself and the way
I feel like you should quote yourself on that. I love that. You were always a visionary. You don't know. And I think I'm throwing this out there. I think everyone in this planet is a visionary. They just don't know what the vision is. Most people.
And you have to get curious to find out. And for me, the motivation was to feel good. I was like, I don't like this. I want to feel good everywhere.
I know.
It's so funny. And like, the whole reason I have this business, like, this all started because I just wanted to feel good.
I know.
And it was just my journey to stepping into what feels good over and over and over that landed me here. And then I would go teach the things that like I figured out to help me, you know, feel good internally or feel good with money or feel wherever.
Yeah.
Have everything be easier or feel more flowy. Like it's so, all the motivation was originally just, it was like my journey with manifestation and healing was literally just based on desiring to feel good.
Yeah. Yeah.
My name literally means happy, or in some languages, joy. I'm like, that's what I want. I know.
Wow. Jocelyn does?
Yeah.
Oh.
Isn't that interesting? Because I'm like, no wonder I'm always like, life gets to be better and better. Let's not make it hard.
It does.
Can't this be a little easier? Like, you know, I just really, I aspire to, like, I desire joy. That's what I like.
Yeah. Yeah.
It hasn't always been joyful. The journey has been getting there.
But everybody does. Everybody, like, you think it's about the thing or the money or the, but it's no, you want to be happy. You want to feel joyful. Like, that is the human experience that we all want.
I'm like, if you just start there, but people will anchor so deeply into the tangible part. I'm like, no, if you anchor into the feeling from all the different, like the tangible parts will come.
Exactly.
And also you won't enjoy them if you're not happy on the inside anyway. So who cares?
Yeah.
Until we like get straight with you, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, okay. Well, I'm going to leave your links for your podcast. Is your website up?
You know what? It will be. I'm finishing it right now. Just incorporating some of the things that Emily shared. So
I'm just so happy. It's such an honor to have you. You're such a powerful manifester, and it's just so clear how you really care. You know, you're not just like, I'm just going to go like regurgitate this and I want to make money and like you really, your heart is in this, you know? And I feel like sometimes
so glad you can see that.
Oh, it's so obvious. Sometimes, like, you know how you were saying that you actually desired to learn from someone who was maybe a little earlier, because I think sometimes we can get to a certain place where people get a little jaded and it just is like a business and like I do not desire to get there. Like, I don't think I would create a business that felt like that, but it happens often, you know,
when you're doing the same thing for so
over and or it's like being a celebrity and everyone's been coming up to you every day on the street. You're like, get away from me.
Right. Right.
So, but I desire, no matter how big my brand gets, to have, like, I need to have heart in my business, you know?
Yeah.
If the goal's always joy, of course, like things will evolve and change. But anyway, point being, I really love that it's just very obvious, you know, and that you are clearly like, I don't know. I've worked with a lot of people, so it's very easy for me to see the energy of like I don't even mean me coaching. I mean like me being mentored, et cetera, of like the kind of space someone will actually be able to hold, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel like you really have that. And it's like one of the things that I feel makes such a phenomenal leader is the ability to like, not just churn people through a process,
but
like hold space for the journey.
Yeah. Well, thank you. That means a lot, especially coming from you. That is, I wouldn't be doing this if it didn't feel aligned with my heart. And it really does. Like I love this mission and like the idea of helping people in this world be happier. Like that, I can't think of anything that feels better than that.
I know. I agree. All right, Julia.
All right.
So much.
And I will talk to you next week too, because we have this week.
Is it this week? Today's been a little bit of a while. Don't even know what date it is. Oh, it's November 1st. Okay. Yes, okay. This week. I will talk to you soon.
Okay. Talk to you soon, Jocelyn.
Bye.